Be seated for tonight's talk. Sit facing teacher and be comfortable. Gata on opening the sutra. The Dharma incomparably profound and infinitely subtle is rarely encountered even in millions of ages. Now we see it, hear it, receive and maintain it. May we completely realize the Tathagata's true meaning.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. And just to make sure that I can see you. And if you can't see me very well, if you have to kind of crank your neck, then just move a little bit. It's really important to have our eyes locking, more or less. So, we just finished a very intensive week-long retreat, and some of the new Jukai students are here. And congratulations to all of them. And I was like, wow, everything is like, that period of sitting was so short. And that period of sitting was so short. It's like after a week of sitting, it's almost like nothing. Of course, for people who are here for maybe the first time, they were having a slightly different experience with that, right? But how quickly your body and your mind adjusts, right? That's actually what training is. You keep sort of putting yourself in the pot, so to speak, of boiling water, and you don't actually know completely what's going on, but something's changed, right? So in Zen, we call that pot of boiling water samadhi. Yes. So samadhi is mostly translated as concentration, but that's a little bit kind of a weak tea description of what it is. It actually is the womb of the Tathagata. It is you can't say mind, you can't say body, you can't say space, you can't say place of the maturation of our Buddha nature. Nevertheless, it is exactly the body that you're in and the mind that you have and the experience that you're having precisely on that cushion that is the womb of the Buddha. It's very, Zen practice is so strange. It's very hard to pin down exactly what's happening. So we are on case 19 of the Mumonkan. And interestingly enough, the grimoire has been playing some tricks on us because here is tonight's, hold on. Here is tonight's antidote to the spell of samadhi, of samsara, sorry. So, fortunately, I have the eyes to be able to read this blank page. Okay, let's see what we've got here. So, case 19 is ordinary mind is the way. So, right off the bat, your mind, just as it is in this moment, is the way of practice. So let's all just kind of give a thank God that's true. Because imagine if you had to actually learn more stuff or let go of more stuff or, I don't know, make some more money to practice the way, right? Or have a family or be married or have children or not have children or, there's all kinds of conditionality, right, that we're dealing with all the time. And Zen practice comes along and says, your mind, your body, exactly as it is the way, is the gate. Now, the ordinary samsaric mind says, you've got to be effing kidding me, right? This screwed up mind, this mind of insanity is the way. Well, okay, so if it is the way, why aren't I enlightened? right? Why isn't just everybody automatically enlightened if our mind is the way? And that's where the reading of the blank pages comes in. Right? And interestingly enough, it's allowing ourselves to get to, I don't really want to say the blankness, because I think that's like bringing up things that are kind of confusing and not really kind of pointing to what I'm trying to say. But there is this, like if you had to say, okay, so my mind is the way, and it's not just like my ordinary mind, but it is my ordinary mind. So where's the shift? Where's the ticket? And it has to do with that mysterious, what can we say? That mysterious womb of suchness that we are practicing, that we are opening our hearts and our minds to, that is profoundly and deeply trustworthy, regardless of our aches and pains, our karmic messed upness, or the karmic messed upness of others, and regardless of the contents of our mind. Now this is interesting, is it not? So what is that? What is that? Joshu once asked Nansen, what is the Tao? What is the way? Nansen answered, ordinary mind is the way. Joshu said, well then, should we direct ourselves toward it or not? Nansen replied, if you direct yourself toward it, you go away from it. Oh. Joshu continued, if we do not try, how can we know that it's the Tao? Nansen replied, Tao does not belong to knowing or not knowing. Knowing is illusion, not knowing is blankness. If you really attain to the Tao of no doubt, it is like a great void, so vast and boundless, and safe, and warm-hearted, and free, and responsive, and fearless. I'm putting other words on it now, but let's see. How then can there be right and wrong in the way? At these words, Joshu was suddenly enlightened. So this is really like a wonderful koan because it's pretty straightforward, number one, which some of them aren't. And number two, it's really sort of like, how do I practice? Please teach me. Now, Joshu, for those who've been around for a while, you know this guy, right? Now, in this koan, he's about 18 years old. Roll that forward, and he is going to create the great koan. Moo, does a dog have Buddha nature? Right, so we are seeing him at a really early stage in his practice. And he has come to Nansen because he had done all of his scholarly Buddhist work at the university. And he just wasn't feeling feeling settled, feeling like he was really resolved. And this is a really important place for us to acknowledge. Dogen said when the Dharma fills your body and your mind, there's always the sense of something missing, something more. When you think you've got it all figured out, you're all full of you know what. And it isn't necessarily like the pure Buddha Dharma kind of thing. So let's go on here. Mumon's commentary. Question by Joshu the young student, Master Nansen immediately shows that the tile is disintegrating. The tile is disintegrating. The ice is dissolving. And no communication whatsoever is possible. Even though Joshu may be enlightened, he can truly get it only after studying for 30 more years. So, and I can attest to that long, long road of Dharma practice, which we're all on together. In Mumon's poem, hundreds of flowers in spring, the moon in autumn, a cool breeze in summer, and snow in winter. If there's no vain cloud in your mind, for you it is a good season. So let's look at this a little bit. It's so straightforward. It's almost doesn't need any explanation. What is the way? Ordinary mind is the way. You are the way, just as you are. Just as you are practicing the Dharma. Because, as I think it was like Einstein famously said, if you want to solve a problem, you can't find the solution inside the base in the sphere of the problem. You have to go outside of that context, right? So outside of the context of being completely like in the web, caught in the web of our conditioning, right? We practice letting go and letting be. We practice being with the breath, preferring our experience of the breath. Why is that important? That's important because it's allowing us to get a little bit of unhooking. Oh, wait, this thought is happening, but some breath is happening here, and the breath is very interesting. What is my direct experience of the breath as I'm letting go of these thoughts, as I'm allowing these thoughts to just be? Now remember, the ordinary mind wants to fix it. Right? It will do anything in its power to right the ship. But Zazen, you're going in the opposite direction. You're saying, I totally trust this moment. I do not have to meddle in this moment. I don't have to contrive this moment to be something other than it is. This is really radical for the mind, right? It's like, what? I don't have a job anymore. I'm not going down without a fight. And, even the wrestling and the fighting and the sort of banging your head against the zafu, that is all part of practice. It's almost like we have to dethrone the samsaric mind, the mind of subject, object, the mind of this and that has such a mixed legacy, right? On the one hand, it's really helping us get through the day, right? It's allowing us to use our intellect. It's allowing us to have all of the incredible things that we can acquire and create and so forth and so on. But it gets a little bit too uppity, right? Really thinks it's running the show. Ordinary mind is the Tao. Then should we direct ourselves toward it or not? So you can see right in that question what kind of mind is asking that question. How do I get this? Right? Well, the mind of how do I get this is the problem, because you've already got it. You were born this way. We were born with Buddha nature. That is our true home. That is our true nature. And then Nansen is so gentle with Joshu, which is kind of nice, If you try to direct yourself toward it, you go away from it. Why is that? Because you think it's somewhere else. Your mind thinks it's somewhere else, but it's right here. So the more you try to I gotta find it, I gotta go on that hero's journey, I gotta find it. The further away you go, right? When you walk the way, it is not near, it is not far. But if you are deluded, mountains and rivers block your way. Hearing that in terms of this koan, it's like, when you walk the way, it is not near, it is not far, because we are the way. I can remember working on Mu, and it was early on, and I remember just sort of, I was by myself, sort of, I guess, walking around during a break, and I just started screaming moo at the trees and everything. It was like, moo, moo, moo. I was like, where are you? Come out. And honestly, all I did was make myself hoarse. And, my teacher was so patient with me. I think I went in there and told him what happened. He said, oh, yes, I see there's a bit of aggression still in there. You might want to work on that a little more. But you can see, right? That aggression comes from not realizing that we're already it. It's already here, right? So when you hear that nirvana is peace, it means that you have touched the place in your heart mind where you have no doubt. You have no more tilting of the head like, is this it? Am I it? Is she it? Right? So Joshu hears Nansen say, if you try to direct yourself toward it, you go away from it. And he kind of takes that in, but he's back. He's really trying to work with it, right? And then he says, if we don't try, how can we know that it's the Tao? If I don't do anything, then I'm not doing anything, right? And I'm still in the same mess that I was in when I walked in the Zendo. Right? So you can see the mind kind of trying to figure this out. And it's like, well, wait a minute, that doesn't work to not do anything, because I'll never get out of this mess. And Nansen, again, gives him this teaching. The way does not belong to knowing or to not knowing. You're never, ever, ever, ever going to think your way into the Dharma. So let's just get that straight. Let's get it clear. And if you find yourself trying to do that, cut it out. It's not going to work. Having said that, when we do have the direct experience of acknowledging and realizing and actualizing our Buddha nature, a few words are really good, right? If I wasn't speaking, how could I teach, right? Interesting, isn't it? This is really a fascinating process. It's never boring. If you want to live a life that is never, ever boring, practice the Dharma. I promise you, even when you're bored out of your mind, it'll be so interesting. So, the Tao does not belong to knowing or not knowing. Knowing is illusion. Knowing in this conceptual way is mere imputation, right? Is merely putting a word on something that cannot be contained. Where the word breaks off, no thing may be, right? It's so provisional. It is so provisional, right? Not knowing is blankness. So just like turning away, just being ignorant, not understanding. You definitely don't want to go there. And interestingly enough, you really need a teacher when you're working in and training in samadhi, this womb of the Tathagata, this womb of suchness, because there are a few different eddies that you can get into. And one of them is trance, right? So that's not going to help you much. It's like there's this sort of sweet spot, and we each find our way into it. But when you, especially, that's why you want to come into Dokusan, because you want to check it and see how you're doing. Because believe me, you don't want to spend decades in this sort of like it kind of Zen training. Looks a little bit like it, because you're sitting up nice and straight. Your eyes are right, everything's right. But it's your mind and your heart is not. actually practicing correctly. If you really attain to the Tao of no doubt, it is like the great void, so vast and boundless. You know your freedom. You know your absolute, utterly reliable, utterly trustworthy freedom. And you know how to help others be free. And you can see someone's samsaric mind coming at you 10,000 miles away, right? And you know how to work with it. That's the Bodhisattva's vow. You can see your own mind coming at you 10,000 miles away, and you know how to work with it. You know how to love it. You know how to relieve the pain, especially mental pain. Physical pain, sometimes you have to go to the doctor. But mental pain, absolutely. How then can there be right and wrong in the Tao? So here, Nansen is pointing Joshu directly to the absolute, right? This place where the tile is disintegrating, where the floor underneath your body is shimmering and moving and no longer capable of holding you up. I got news for you. It's the case anyway, right? Got it, don't got it in this human world, right? What can you hang on to? Nada, 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 right? The ice is dissolving. No communication whatsoever is possible. At these words, Joshu was suddenly enlightened. So what happened was, one can imagine, that Joshu and Nansen were in this pretty intimate relationship. And it wasn't actually, the words were important, but Joshu's heart-mind was the most important thing. All of his years of sincere practice, his sincere dedication, his sincere really questioning and diving in and just being like so brutally honest with himself. Really important, brutally honest with himself. There was this moment where it all came together for him, just like all comes together for every single one of us. Every single one of us, it comes together on its own time and in its own way. There is nothing we can do to speed it up, to slow it down. The only thing we can do is have such incredible devotion and fidelity to our practice that such a pure heart that rejoices in the light of understanding, that rejoices in the light of not knowing. And we really have to make friends with the purity of our hearts. I would say, gosh, what is the definition of Zen? Making friends with the purity of our hearts. That would be a good place to start. So we will end here tonight because it's getting a bit late, and we'll have the Bodhisattva vows.
Thank you everybody for coming tonight. Are there any announcements? Microphone.
Hi everybody, just very quickly, my name is Kigetsu. We are having an event at the end of this month called the Home Hermitage Practice Day, which will be Saturday, August 26th. And I just wanted to let you know that registration for that will be closing this Saturday, August 12th. It'll be a day of home practice. You will tune in through 3 separate check-ins online. And it's a great way for the Toledo Sangha to practice alongside the distance member Sangha. And it's an opportunity that the distance members have been really looking forward to. So I wanted to keep this short. Thank you.
Anyone else? Please restore the sentence.